Okay, so let us start. See, we are now learning about Spring MVC. Last time we had finished Spring JDBC. Okay, how the front end interacts with the middle layer. That is what we are going to learn. Okay, suppose if we had written our code by using normal servlet programming, how much our functions or modules we have, we had to write as so many servlets. Okay, instead of that, now entire modules will have a single servlet known as dispatcher servlet of Spring. Okay, so always the request will go to this dispatcher servlet. Okay, from the dispatcher servlet, what the dispatcher servlet will do is, as part of step number 2, on your front end you would have given some key in the form action tag. If it is a JSP page, we'll see an example also. Okay, on the front end you will see form action tag. Okay, on the back end it should match with whatever controller class we have written. We would have used at request mapping. Okay, this one will happen through inbuilt class of Spring known as handler mapping. Handler mapping, what it will do is, okay, for this key which function has to be called, that will be present inside the handler mapping. Okay, so each and every time whenever you make a request from the front end, from the dispatcher servlet it will go to handler mapping. The handler mapping will go and find out which function has to be called. Okay, all those functions will be written inside a controller. Therefore, after finding for that key what is the function, it will call that function of controller. After it calls the function of controller, what will happen is, if it is a non-Ajax, when I say non-Ajax, request is on a different page and response is on a different page, or complete page reload, that is called as non-Ajax. Okay, whereas if we say Ajax, when you scroll down the page will get painted or partially the page will get updated, that is called Ajax. Okay, this flow whatever I am talking about holds good for non-Ajax, Therefore, step number 3, it will call the function of the controller. Step number 4, always a controller, if it is a non-Ajax based request and response, the return type will be model and view. The class return type will be model and view, where model stands for what is the results you have to send to the front end, and view stands for which page has to be loaded. Model stands for the resultant object, view stands for which page has to be loaded. Okay, and then after that the next thing it will call is view resolver. Okay, today you had college, what time it ended? Because till now those people have not come. Okay, fine, anyway, recording is there. Then after the step number 5, view resolver, what this view resolver will do is, when you return model and view, okay, you will return model and view in this format. Okay, you will return the model and view object. Always the return statement will be return new model and view. The first argument will be the name of the JSP which you want to load. Say for example, after you have entered valid username and password, say for example welcome JSP, the key will be the first argument. The first argument of model and view is the JSP page name. Okay, the second argument is some unique key. The third argument is resultant object. The object can be anything depending upon your project. Okay, so this will be the return type with 3 arguments. The first argument is the name of the JSP that has to get loaded. The second argument is the key which is used to hold the results, and the third argument is the results itself. Okay, so now when we return this, okay, what will happen is, you will be writing some statement like return new model and view. We'll be writing some statement like return new model and view. Say for example, if you have given valid username and password, say for example customer welcome, cust welcome, the name of the JSP you will give. Okay, then the second argument is some key. In all the projects I am using the key as obj. Okay, then after that the third is some result. Say for example, hi welcome user. It cannot be always a plain string, it can be anything. It can be list of values, It can be, say for example, I want to view the output of say in case of movie rating, I want to see the output of tokenization. I will click on view tokens, then it will be list of token vivo object, where token vivo is a class which will have token id, token name, the movie id. Okay, so the third argument can be any result, not just the plain string. Okay, therefore once you return that, what will be the first argument? The JSP page name. Okay, therefore what will happen is, as part of step number 5, it will go into and call some inbuilt class of Spring known as view resolver. Okay, what this view resolver will do is, the view resolver will append a prefix and a suffix to your key. Append a prefix and a suffix to your key. Okay, therefore that prefix and suffix we would have defined. Say cust welcome means, in all the project I am using a prefix /JSP/ because I am keeping all the front end files in the JSP folder. Okay, and then after that, what is the key of the name of the JSP page? Cust welcome. Then it will append the suffix .jsp and get the complete path. After getting the complete path, finally it will load that particular page. So these 6 steps are performed for any kind of non-AJAX request. Okay, now let us go how we can implement this in detail. Okay, so step number 1, whenever a user performs certain action, the request is sent to the server in the following format. Any project in the following format: http:// localhost : the port number of the Tomcat / the project name / action name.do. Whenever you click on any button or anything, the request will be in this format. Okay, here the action name can be treated as a key to identify which controller function is getting called. Okay, see here I have given an example. For example, if you take any page, any JSP page of your projects, there will be something known as form action. Okay, under the action there will be request.getContextPath / action name.do. It can be /login.do, /register.do, /token.do, /add-stopword.do, /navBas-probability.do. Okay, like that, action name.do, form action equal to. Then here, whatever elements, the text boxes, the combo boxes, whatever you want. Okay, then closing of a form will be there. Okay, therefore from this form, when you click on a button, the request will be going in this format. Okay, next what will happen is, step number 2 is, one thing is the request can be sent by using either form action, or one more way of sending the request is, say you have a href also you can give /action name.do, then also the request can be generated. Href means hyperlink. Okay, then after that, step number 2, what will happen is, this is a J2EE application. As soon as it is a J2EE application, what will happen is, the request will go to something known as web container. The request will go to web container. Whatever your request comes from the browser, it will go to web container. The web containers will be present where? The web containers will be present in servers. Okay, for our projects, the server that we are using is Apache Tomcat server. Therefore, that will act like a web container. Okay, now that Apache Tomcat server will go and look whether this request is valid or not into a XML file known as web.xml file. Any J2EE project will have web.xml file. It will go and look for that request in the web.xml file. Okay, as soon as it goes and look for the request in the web.xml file, it will look into the welcome file list. The welcome file list will have a welcome file known as here it is an example, application welcome.jsp. Therefore, whenever you run your project, the first page that will get loaded in your application will be listed in the welcome file list. Any project will have their own welcome file. Okay, the first page of your application you can give in a welcome file list. So that will get loaded whenever you run the project. Okay, next after that, what framework we are making use of? We are making use of a framework known as Spring Framework. Okay, therefore whether it is a Spring Framework or whether it is any other normal servlets or JSP, we require a servlet component in order to take the request and send back the response. Okay, therefore the servlet component is defined by using two tags in the web.xml. One is a servlet tag, one more is a servlet mapping tag. Okay, under servlet tag you will have servlet name and the servlet class. Servlet name, some unique name given to the servlet, and servlet class is nothing but your package name dot class name of the servlet. Okay, but here because we are making use of a Spring framework, your servlet name will be org spring framework dot web. Okay, dot servlet, this is the package, and the dispatcher servlet is the class name of Spring. That is the entry point to the application. Okay, therefore, and one more thing is servlet mapping. The servlet mapping will have something known as a servlet name and the URL pattern. Okay, the URL pattern will give what kind of requests are acceptable. What kind of requests are acceptable. When I say star.do, any request which is ending with .do is acceptable. If my request is ending with add.html, there is no .do, then that will be rejected and the server will send 404. The server will send a status code 404. That is no request found. Okay. Then otherwise, if the pattern matches, what will the web container, after going to the web container, the request, first thing the Apache server will see is the URL pattern looking into the web.xml file. If the URL pattern and whatever is the URL you are hitting on the browser, if both of them matches, okay, here if it is ending with .do, then it will go and look for what? Servlet name. Then it will go and look for a servlet name. For the same servlet name, it will go and look under the servlet tag. These two must match, servlet name. And then it will load the object of dispatcher servlet. This is how the control comes to dispatcher servlet. From the URL pattern, servlet name. From there, go to a tag known as servlet tag, look for the same servlet name. After that, go to the servlet class and create the object of that particular class. In this case, the dispatcher servlet class. Okay, after creating that, okay, these are optional. Then after creating that, the next thing is the web container will look into the URL pattern. If the URL pattern is invalid, I told you 404 error will be shown. The name of the servlet is looked under the servlet tag, and object of dispatcher servlet is created. Okay, what is a servlet? I have given a definition here. Okay, just it's a component to take the request and send back the response. Now look at the next step. What is the next step? I have given in your notes. The dispatcher servlet will look into a file named servlet name hyphen servlet.xml. The dispatcher servlet will look into a servlet name hyphen servlet.xml file. Whatever servlet name we have given in the web.xml, it will go and look into that particular servlet name hyphen servlet.xml. Next. This is when the request came to web container. From there it went to web.xml. From there it went to URL pattern. From the URL pattern it went to servlet name. From the servlet name, the same servlet name it will search in the servlet tag. From there it created an object of dispatcher servlet, and the dispatcher servlet will be available. Okay, once the dispatcher servlet is available, next what it will do, it will go and look into a file servlet name hyphen servlet.xml. After looking into the file servlet name hyphen servlet.xml, next what it will do is, inside that XML file we would have defined something like this: context component scan base package name for the controller. What this annotation will do is, it will go and scan the package whatever we have given and look for the classes who are controllers. Look for a class who are controllers. Always for your application, the controller is the entry point for the application. So it will look for the controllers inside this package. Okay, when I say controller is the entry point to the application. Any class which is annotated with @controller. On top of the class, if you have @controller, then that particular class will behave like a controller, the entry point for the application. So this context component scan, if you have given in a XML file, then it will go and look into this package for a class which is annotated with @controller and load those classes. Okay, and then after that, one more thing is, for this component scan to work, we need to have MVC colon annotation driven. If your project has to identify annotations, annotations means at something, okay, and each annotation will be behind the scenes associated with some kind of metadata, behavior. Metadata means behavior, okay, some kind of behavior. Now when I say at controller to a class, it will act like an entry point to the application. When I say at AutoWire, that particular class object will be automatically available. When I say at request mapping, that particular function will be called whose key matches with the form action. Okay, like that each and every annotation will have its own behavior. Okay, therefore if you want the annotations to be recognized, inside servlet name -servlet.xml you will say MVC colon annotation driven. Okay, and if you want to give to Spring where are your controllers, you will give context colon component scan the base package. Okay, next after that, see how we write a controller class, at controller class with some class name. Okay, next thing is how to identify, okay, what function of a controller is getting called from the front end. To identify that, we have to make use of at request mapping inside the controller function with some value, that is action name dot do. This action name dot do must match with whatever is given inside your JSP form action or inside your JS URL colon. For a JS it is URL colon, okay, for a JS file it is URL colon, and then for after that for your controller it is action name dot do, that is at request mapping. Okay, then after that, method, in all the functions I am giving the method as request.post or request.get, both are acceptable. I am saying you can use even request.post alone. If you use request.post alone, it will be secure, the data will not be visible on the URL. If you say request.get, it will not be secure. Generally in the industry, request.get we will use for retrieval operations and post we use always for the submission operations. Okay, therefore if you want your request to be more secure, you can use request.post, the method. Okay, what is the difference is, say for example we have a front end, some text boxes are there, you are entering two values in the text box, then the request will go something like this, colon the port number slash your project name, okay, slash some action dot do. Okay, then if it is a get means question mark num1 equal to 10, say the page has two text boxes, num1 and num2 is equal to 20, it will go like this if you use a get. Okay, if the same thing if we use a post, then what will happen is the request will be going in a same fashion, but this num1 and num2 will not go as a part of a URL, instead they will go as a part of a body. When it goes through a web, through a body, it will be secure. If it goes through a URL, any middleman can access it. Okay, if it goes through a body, no one except the initiator, and then it will convert it into a string buffer. String buffer class is designed in such a way that it is it is immutable class. When we say immutable class, we can't modify in between until it reaches your destination. Okay, so if you make use of post, the request will be sent through a body as an immutable object. Okay, so now, okay, that's why we have request method, post or get. Okay, now my question is, if I ask you, okay, if I open a page now and tell you, can you identify which function of a controller will get called, what is the answer you will give? What is the answer? I'll give you a front page. Okay, now I want to know which function of a controller is getting called. How I can identify that? What? Come on यार, जब से क्या सुन रहे हो आप लोग? कुछ समझ में आ रहा है या नहीं समझ में आ रहा है? Is it my way of explanation is something wrong or what? Or should I go still more slow? My question is, how you will identify what function of a controller will get called from a front end. Just now we studied that. How will identify? On the front end, what we will have? On the front end, we will have something known as form action. Okay, and inside the controller, what we will have? At request mapping. Simple question. Whatever action name we have given on the form action, that should match with at request mapping value. That's all. Was the answer. So this is how we'll identify which function of a controller will get called. Okay. Next question will be coming to your mind is, okay, let me explain in a different way so that you can understand it better. Next question, what will be coming to your mind is, okay, whatever data we enter in the front end, how does the middle layer read it? Correct, na? How will the middle layer read it? Means how will the controller get the data of the front end? Now we identified which function will get called. Second question is, okay, how whatever the user is entering on the front end, the backend can identify or the middle layer can identify. That is the controller class can identify. How it can identify is, there are various attributes like if it is a non-Ajax, either we use at model attribute or at request param. At request param is used to bind a single parameter, the single input from the front end. Whereas at model attribute is used to bind more than one attribute. At model attribute is used to bind more than one attribute. Okay. So, okay, let us see an example how the data binding happens. So, we talked about something known as web.xml just now, correct? So, the web.xml will have what? The URL pattern, the servlet name is demo, and here also the servlet name is demo, and there is dispatcher servlet. And if you see the welcome file list, there is welcome.jsp. Therefore, welcome.jsp will be first loaded. Okay. Next, after that, what is the name of the servlet? Demo. There should be a file with the name servlet name hyphen servlet.xml. Therefore, demo hyphen servlet.xml is there here. Okay, and inside that what you will define? MVC colon annotation driven to identify the annotations, and then context colon components can base package equal to the name of the package where your controller resides. Okay, then after that we studied about model and view. Okay, after getting model and view, the dispatcher servlet went to a class known as view resolver class, wherein it appended the prefix and a suffix. Remember? Therefore, how to define that class is ORJ Spring Framework web.servlet. The name of the class is internal resource view resolver. Inside that you can give a prefix, you can give a suffix. See, what is the prefix? I have given /JSP slash, suffix I have given .JSP. So it will give me the complete path by calling this class internally. Okay, till here it is clear. Then after that, next I told you, if a class should act like a controller, then on top of the class we should have at controller. Okay, now right click, run as unknown server and say finish. Okay, we can copy this URL and go and paste into the browser and press enter. Okay, so now the welcome page is getting loaded. What was the welcome page? Welcome.jsp. Okay, therefore Control Shift R is a shortcut key to open any file in your IDE. Therefore I am going to the welcome.jsp. See, inside this what I have done? Customer JSP, menu JSP. Okay, and then inside customer JSP, what I have written, I have given demo Spring MVC. Therefore, that is what is appearing on top for you, demo Spring MVC. Okay, then after that, next after that, in that particular JSP itself, okay, that is welcome.jsp, I have given menu.jsp. Okay, inside the menu.jsp, I have given home and the calculator. Therefore, that is what you are seeing on the front end, the home and the calculator. Okay, now, okay, why it is not compiling? Oh my god, why? Some issue with the demo project which I created. Okay. Let me stop the server and recompile this. Right click, properties. Project clean. Let me rebuild the project. Okay, Java itself, it is not recognizing. Right click, properties, Java build path. Let me remove this. Remove, add library, GRE system library, install GREs. Okay, finish. Okay. Now right click, run as, announce server, finish. Okay, what was my first question? My first question was how we can identify from a front end which function of a controller is getting called. Okay, so now I will go back here and I will click on calculator. Okay, so when you click on calculator, there is two text boxes and a combo box, addition, subtraction, any. Okay, and wherein you can give the two numbers and do submit and do the addition or subtraction. A simple project I have created to make you understand the concepts of Spring. Okay, therefore here if you go to this demo controller, okay, and then after that on the front end, okay, the input page, Control Shift R, menu.jsp, and menu.jsp, when you click on calculator, it is going to calculator input.jsp. See the calculator input.jsp, what is the form action? Calculator.do. Okay, and go to your controller and look the request mapping, calculator.do, both of them matches, and it will call this function, that is do operation function, because of the match between form action at request mapping value. Okay, next question was how we take the input from the front end, correct? If it is a single value, we can make use of at request param. If it is more than one value, we have to make use of at model attribute. Okay, if it is a single value, on the controller you will write at request param, then string, the name of the text box or name of the combo box, whatever you have used on the front end, the name, if it is a single input. If it is more than one input, you will say at model attribute. Okay, after that the class which has all the variables, getters and setters of how much our inputs are there in the front end. Okay, at model attribute class and class name. Okay, now when we go back over here, see what I am using at model attribute, some class and some variable name. Okay, what is the class name I am using? Calculator input. Before going inside that class, let us understand few things in the calculator input page. See, I have created two text boxes, name is number 1, one more name is number 2, and there is a combo box with name as type. 3 fields are there. Because there are 3 fields, that's why we are using at the controller at model attribute. Okay, we are using at the controller at model attribute. Now Okay. So now our second this one is how we can bind the input. The front end has text boxes number 1, number 2, and the name is here type. There are 3 inputs. If there is more than one input, how we read the data in the controller is by using model attribute, the class, some variable name for the class. Okay. Therefore here from this page, when the user enters the input, inside your controller you will use @model attribute, the class name and some variable name to get the data from the front end. To get the data from the front end, if it is more than one input, then you can make use of @model attribute, the class name, the variable name. Okay, and inside this class what should happen is, if you see whatever name we have used on the front end, okay, if you go and make a note of this calculator input, what is the name of the text box we have given? Number 1. Okay, therefore let me make a note over here. The first text box name we have given as number 1. Number 1. What is the name of the input given for the second text box? Number 2. Then after that, what is the name of the input given to the combo box? Type. So if I want all these 3 values, whatever has been entered by the user inside the controller class, which is the entry point to your application, to your projects, okay, I will use @model attribute class, the class name. Okay, and this class must have all these variables with getters and setters. Okay, therefore that's why here inside the controller, okay, where is the controller? That is okay, demo controller, I have used @model attribute, the class name, the variable name. Okay, and if you go inside this class, what is the variable? Type. What is one more variable? Number 1. What is one more variable? Number 2. Therefore it will match with the front end, and setters will get called automatically, and this class will have a state. This class will have a state. State means values. What is the state of a object? If I say, okay, state of a object is nothing but the object with values. If I say stateless object, means the object will not have any value. Okay, therefore now number 1, number 2 and type will have some values whatever the user has entered. Okay, automatically the Spring will call the setters, and those values will be available inside the controller. Okay, therefore what I can do now inside the controller, therefore I have taken 2 inputs, and then I am saying calculator input dot get number 1, calculator input dot get number 2. I am reading the whatever the user has entered, and then after that converting it to double. And then after that, the third thing is the type. If the type is addition, I am adding. If the type is subtraction, I am subtracting. If it is any other type, I am multiplying and generating the result. Okay, so now we understood 2 things. First thing is, for our application, the entry point will be a controller class. If our class has to act like a controller, it must be annotated with @controller. Okay, second thing which we learned in this 45 minutes is, the second thing, how to identify what function of a controller will get called. How to identify is, from the front end, because you have come late, from the front end we have to look into the form action. Calculator.do is there. What is the end of the action? Calculator.do. This must match with our controller @request mapping. Calculator.do. Therefore both will match, and this function will get called when you click on something on the front end, because the form action is calculator.do and your controller also has calculator.do. Form action must match with @request mapping value. Okay, okay, still I don't see the confidence. Okay, let me do one thing. अरे यार कैसे समझाऊँ यार आप लोगों को. Now file, save as, okay, test input. Let me create one JSP page test input. Say this is my front end. Here I'll use some action hi.do, okay, and then after that I'll use one single text box to make it simpler. Okay, then after that I'll say name. Okay, then inside the controller, okay, I'll create one more function. Okay, now I'll call this function as, okay, now how many inputs are there on the front end? Single input is there, therefore I'll use at request param. Okay, for a single input if I want to read string, and what is the name of the text box I'm using? Name. Okay, and then after that I'll go over here and I'll say, okay, hi.do. What I have used there? The form action for the test input, hi.do. Therefore, inside the controller, the demo controller which I have created, I'll use hi.do as that request mapping value. Okay, then after that, okay, whatever the user enters, I'll send back that to the front end. Whatever the user enters, I'll send back that to the front end. A simple code I have written now. Okay, therefore I have written a simple controller function. Whatever the user is entering, the name, that will get binded, because here what is the letters? Letters, read it please. NAME. Okay, so what is the letters that are present on the front end for the text box? NAME. Okay, hopefully now you are understanding, because I am seeing confusing faces. In the demo controller, if I want to read a single input, then we'll use at request param, then the data type of that particular variable, then the name whatever you have used in the front end. This is how you can read a single input from a front end. Now you understood how to read a single input from a front end. Next thing is, which function is getting called, how to identify that? If you go to the test input page, we are using form action equal to /hi.do. Always this will be constant, request.getContextPath. This is used to give the context path of the application. It will always be http://localhost: the port number of the server / your project name. Therefore, in this case, what is the project name? Java Spring MVC session. Therefore, request.contextPath will give you http://. Okay. See, this is called as the context path of the application. Localhost: 8088, the port number of the server / the project name. Whatever is the name of the project. When you say request.getContextPath, that will get automatically appended whenever the request is getting generated. Okay. Then after that, what is happening? I am using here hi.do, and if we go to our controller, the demo controller, the request mapping is also having hi.do. That's why from the test input, if I do any action, it will come to this function. Okay, now let us go and test this. Okay, let me finish off remaining things also. Okay, always remember, whenever it is a non-AJAX, the output resultant will be return new model and view. The first argument is the name of the JSP page which has to be loaded. The second argument is the key. The third argument is the result. Here the name of the JSP page is what? Success. And then after that the key is obj, and the value is whatever the user enters, the name. And then after that, success, there will be a success.jsp where you can read the results and print the results. Okay, in the success I am converting into double. Okay, it will throw an error. Okay, let me make this, because I created just now for single input to make you people easy to understand. Let me make it success1.jsp, and here I'll use this as a string. Okay, I'll come to this, how to read and paint the results on the front end. Don't worry about that. Just I want you to understand the two questions, which function will be getting called, how the data will get binded. Next I will tell you how we send the results on the front end and read it. Okay, that is the next part which I will tell you. Now no need to understand the code, what is written inside success1.jsp. Project, please stop the server because I have changed the Java code. Let me rebuild project clean. Okay, now let me rerun. Right click. Oh, test1.input I have given, but how to go to that page? Therefore I will create a menu also for that. Test1 test input.jsp. Right click, debug as, debug on server, finish. Okay, I'll copy this URL to the front end. Okay, so I created just now one page with single text box. Okay, I'll give here hello, only two values, submit. See the result equal to E. How it identified? Now let me do one thing. Let me go and put a breakpoint over here and see whether it will come to this function. Okay, debug has, debug on server, finish. Okay, it is started in debug mode. See, I'll go to test1 and I'll say some GD, I'll click on submit. Where it came? Hi.do it came. Why it came to hi.do? Because form action was hi.do on the test input page. Okay, and see what is the value of the name here. What I entered in the input? GD. Therefore the name is GD. Okay, got it? Now next, more than one input, how we bind it? More than one input we make use of @model attribute, the class name, the variable name. Okay, so purposefully what I'll do, I'll go and put a breakpoint in the setters. And plus I'll put a breakpoint in the demo controller into this function. Okay, now let us go to this page calculator. Okay, so I am entering say 10, 20, I am selecting say subtraction, I'll click on submit. Okay, I want you to understand something here, that is in that particular page, what is that page name? Calculator input. Okay, what is the form action? Calculator.do. What are the variables name? Number 1, number 2 and type. Therefore now I told you how the data is given to the controller by automatically calling the setters. I kept a breakpoint at setter, whether it is coming or not, it is coming here. And then what I have entered for number 1? 10. Then I'll go to the next breakpoint. Number 2, I have entered 20. Next I'll go to the next breakpoint. The type I have selected sub. It came. Setter I did not call explicitly. Automatically who is calling? Spring is calling. Okay. And then after that I'll go to the next breakpoint. I am inside the controller. How I am reading it? By calling the getters. Get number 1 and then get number 2. Because any input that you enter will be in the format of a string. Therefore I have converted into double by calling double dot value of. Then I am seeing this one. I have entered here as sub, therefore it is doing a subtraction. Num1 minus num2. Okay. Then after that it has to go to a success page and it has to display the data. Therefore it came to success page, the result is -10, it is displaying. Okay, so two questions we understood, that is how which function will get called inside a controller, that will be from form action equal to at request mapping value. The second we understood is if it is a single value, if you want to read, we will use at request param, the data type, the variable name, at request param string name, example. Then if it is more than one input, we will see inside our controller at model attribute, the class name, some variable name, and that class should have the same variable names what has been used in the front end with getters and setters. Third thing which we understood is if it is a non-Ajax, that is input, complete page will get reloaded, that is called as non-Ajax. Ajax means partial page will get reloaded. If it is non-Ajax, always the return statement will be return new model and view. The first argument will be the name of the page which has to get loaded. The second argument will be the key. The third argument will be the result. Okay, therefore inside my calculator program, the first argument I am sending it as success.jsp, success. The second is the key. The third value is the result of addition of the two numbers. This will go to the front end, the result, the third argument, and that will be present inside a key obj, and the page that will get loaded is success.jsp. Got it? Now the next question which you have to understand is, we understood which function is getting called, we understood how the data is getting binded. Third thing we understood is how the response will be sent by using return new model and view, the response will be sent to the front end. But the fourth thing which we did not understand is how we will read the result on the front end. How we will read the result on the front end. Now observe here, what is the name of the name in the first argument is always the name of the page which has to get loaded. What is the name? Success. Therefore Control Shift R, I am going to success.jsp. Okay. Now inside a JSP page you can write a Java code if you use a scriptlet tags. Open bracket, open the bracket, percentage, close the bracket. Inside this you can write any kind of Java code. Okay. Therefore here what I am doing, see, request.get attribute, what I have passed? obj. So where I had stored the data inside the controller? obj. This result I had stored inside obj, and on the front end, that is the success.jsp, I am reading the input by using request.get attribute obj. And what is the result? Result is a numerical value of type double. Therefore I am typecasting it to double. Then I am seeing the result. If result is not equal to null, how we can print on the front end is by using percentage equal to. Percentage equal to is equivalent to writing system.out.println of Java on a front end. Okay, this is how you can read the response on the front end. So this is how the Spring MVC works if it is a non-Ajax. Okay, we created a page with a single input. What was the test input? And then after that we send back the response, to which we have sent success1. The key we have used is obj only. Control Shift R, see what I have done in success1.jsp. Okay, success1.jsp, not success, success1.jsp. See, I have used the result I have read by using request.get attribute obj, but because we are passing a string, I am typecasting it to a type of string here. Okay. Let me do one more example now. In the third example, what I will do is, instead of passing a simple string, I will pass some object, and let us learn how to paint that object on the front end. Okay. Therefore, now I will go. Okay. Control Shift R, test input.jsp, the same JSP I will save it as test2.jsp. Okay, now I will create a page with first name, last name. Okay, see example, first last, okay, max length 20, size I will give around 25. Yes, okay. Now I will give hello. Okay, so what I need to do in the demo controller, I should have a function to handle hello. I'll give some function name. It's not that you have to give the same name here. Okay, hi Akib, I'll give any name you can give here, but here you have to give the exactly same name what you have used in the form action hello. Okay, then how many inputs I am taking from the front end? 2 inputs. That's why can I use that model attribute? Yes, I can use that model attribute. Okay, I'll say, okay, I'll give some class name front end. Okay, some variable fe. Now I'll create this class. All the models I'm creating in demo model. So inside this what I'll do is private string. Okay, what is the name I have given on the front end for the first name? Okay, I want to show it and copy. See here, first. So what I'll do inside my model is, inside the front end is, okay, let me close all of them not to create confusion. Save, yeah, Control Shift R front end. Okay, then Control Shift R test2.jsp. okay, so what I have used here is first, therefore in the front end I'll use private string first. Okay, what I have used there is private string. The next input I have given is, the name I have used is last, therefore in the front end on Java I'll use last. Okay, so I have now more than this I can't explain. Okay, this is the third example I am giving. Okay, so now at least you people should understand. Okay, first, last. Okay, so I am creating a getters and setters for that. So front end is a Java class. Oh, only for first it got generated. Okay, last. Okay, so getters and setters, the two variables are there. Okay, now I'll go back to our controller. What is that controller? Demo controller. Okay, inside this I will return back, see, whatever the user is inputting I will return back that. Okay, this time it is not a simple string, it is an object. I am returning back an object. Okay, now I'll use one more page known as paint, some page name, Control Shift R success1.jsp. I'll save this as paint.jsp. Okay, inside this request.get attribute obj, but here what it is returning is front end. Okay, in place of string I am using front end. Okay, then after that first name is result dot get. भाई क्यों नहीं आ रहा है getter, suggestions क्यों नहीं आ रहे हैं? Okay, ठीक है, चलो, get first. Okay, then after that again I'll paint one more thing, result dot get last. Spelling is wrong but manage it. Okay, name is last name is. So here I have written the object, I am painting the values of the object. Like that your project will have complex objects. Okay, inside the object one more object it will have. Then I will say get of that, again get of that. Okay, so now let us go and compile this and rerun this. Okay, so project clean because I have changed. See, it is saying front end cannot be found. Okay, because that is not an inbuilt class, na. Okay, you have to write the page import for that. Page import is equal to, like in a normal Java class you will write import statement, right? So form dot model dot front end, the package name dot class name. Now it should compile. Hello. Yes sir, no, at that time office was not open, that's why I called you. I came around 4:40, then I called Bittu, then he opened the office. No sir, except Rahul batch, remaining all batches have come. Yes, I have informed him, but he has not come. I don't know why, because he was only asking from last 2 days, but I don't know why he has not come. I yeah, I'm having, I called him, he's not picking the call, it is not reachable. Okay. Yes sir. Okay, therefore there is a name for the text box first, one more name is last. Okay, then after that, oh, the mapping we have given hello. In one more page also we used hello. Two pages we are using hello. Hello is here only, right? Hi we used, then one more is calculator input, something we used. Okay, then it will run now. Okay, okay, but also this has not recognized the class. Okay, let me go to the error.jsp. Page import I am doing properly or no? Okay, performance graph. Okay, the double, the test 2. Okay, let me go. I'll recompile it. It should take care of that. So I gave the package name dot the class name from where it has to import. Okay, right click, run as. Oh, one more thing I have to do, na. New.jsp. I have to give a link for this new page, na, to go to that page. What is the name of the new page which we created? The input test 2, correct? The input first and last is test 2. Okay, now let us run and see what will happen. Debug as debug on server, finish. Okay, so one more menu. Okay, I have given test one only. I'll give some first name, I'll give some last name. Okay, let me give some meaningful thing. Say Rahul Dravid. I'll click on submit. Oh, error occurred, line number 17. Okay, it is unable to compile. Okay, if it is unable to compile, okay, I have forgotten the importer. Okay, just give me a minute. Okay, any project I can see. iGeeks, fuzzy logic, new code. This is routing. Let me go to this elective course, any of the JSP page. Is there any mistake which I am doing here? More than one input, prediction. I've used in the same way I have used there, no? some silly mistake I might have performed here. Paint.jsp import. Okay, what is the mistake? Percentage at syntax. So I will use form.model.content. Okay, now it has to compile properly and it has to give us the result. Now what happened to you? At page import equal to form model document. What is the name of the package in which that is residing? Oh, demo model. That's why I will change this to demo model, because our classes are in demo model. Project. Now right click, run as, run on server, next finish. Okay. So it is giving name is, the last name is. Okay. So if you have an object, the third argument you have to pass the object. On the front end you can say request.get attribute, typecast it to that object, then to paint it the variable dot the getter, variable name of the class dot the getter. Okay. So I have made you understand the non-Ajax flow completely. Okay, like this in your application there will be lot of non-Ajax flows. One more type of flow will be there, that is called as a Ajax flow. Okay, if it is a Ajax flow, instead of form action you have to look on the front end for inside a JS file you have to look. Okay, and you have to look for URL colon. On a JSP you are looking for form action, on a JS you have to look for URL colon. Okay, URL colon on the front end. Okay, then in the controller how to identify which function is getting called? At request mapping value, that will remain the same, at request mapping value. Only in the front end, instead of looking into JSP you have to look into JS. Okay, that is one thing. Second thing, I am talking about Ajax, therefore request and response both will be on the same page. That's why there will be no return model and view. Instead, on top of your function of your demo controller, on top of your function of demo controller, what will be there is, there will be one annotation known as at response body, like this. As soon as you say at response body, from where it has request is initiated to the same page it will send back the result. No need to write return new model and view. You will just write return front end. You will just write return front end. That's all you will do. Okay, if it is a Ajax. Sir, how we read the data if it is an Ajax? Two questions I have answered. One is how we send the response at response body. How we identify the function, same thing at request mapping, but instead of JSP we'll look into the JS file. The third thing is what? How we bind the data. That was the second question. I brought it to third. How we bind the data. In non-Ajax, how we bind the single input? At request param. How we bind more than one input? At model attribute. If you make use of Ajax, in place of that you will use at request body. That's all. At request body for either single input or multiple inputs. Okay, so now let us see few things. Okay, in the front end, for any kind of, for all of your three projects, I have used in the front end a component known as grid component extensively. A component known as grid component. Okay, extensively. Okay, therefore the grid component is there, na. Here I have given all the steps that are required to identify Ajax and non-Ajax with example notes I have prepared. Okay, so if you want to create a grid component, see the grid component will have something known as columns. Okay, Okay, let me copy this part separately, then explain each one of them one by one. The grid component you can create in the front end. A grid is nothing but a table with columns which has the flexibility to sort, hide, unhide. Okay, therefore how you can create is ext.create ext.grid.panel, give some title to the grid and associate the grid with some store and associate the grid with some columns. Important things I want you people to understand here is only three things: store, columns, render to. Remaining things are not important. Even if you don't give also, the grid will get painted. Important things are what? Store, columns, render to. Render to, you have to say where you want to paint this. Okay, if you want to paint it on the body of a page, you will say ext.getBody. Okay, then we have store and the columns. Columns is nothing but how many columns you require on the front end and what is the headings for those columns. So here if you see, I have defined three columns: name, email, phone. Name, email and a phone. Okay, three columns I have defined here. Okay, I have defined two attributes for those columns: text and the data index. Text and the data index. Data index I'll come. For now understand text. Text is nothing but the name of the column. Okay, now one more thing I have used here, configuration is known as store. Always remember, on a front end, the data whatever is coming from the middle layer will get stored on the front end inside a store. Inside a store, the data will get holded inside a store component. Okay, now how that store will look like? The store will look like something like this if you don't make any server call. If you make a server call, we have to change few things. See, the store will have some fields. Fields is nothing but what and all it has to store. See the fields: name, email, phone. Three fields the store is having. Or it will have a model. That model will have fields. Okay. Then data, here I have hard coded. Here in this example I have hard coded the data. If I want the data from the server, then there will be no data here. There will be proxy, and the type of the proxy will be, what is the type of the request? Ajax. Okay, and remaining things like type JSON will remain the same. In all of our projects, the root will be model, because I have created a generic class known as Ajax response, which has a variable known as model. Inside that model, I am storing all your results. Okay, for our project's purpose, I have created a generic class known as model. Okay, that class has a variable known as, I have created a generic class known as Ajax response. Okay, that class has a variable known as model that will act like a root. Root indicates when the server sends the response to the front end, from where this has to read that. The store has to read that from some location. That location is nothing but the root. Okay, sir, not understanding, sir. Give us some example, then we will understand in a better way. Correct, na? Okay, at least three things you would have understood. Instead of JSP form action, you will see URL. Second thing is how to bind the data at request body. Third thing is there will be no return new model and view. Instead of that, there will be at response body. And next thing is how we create a grid. The grid will have two important configurations: the store and the columns. Column is used to define the headings. Okay, and store is used to hold the data. Okay, the column had two things: name and the data index. Name is nothing but the heading. What is data index? The data index, whatever we are using inside the columns of the grid, must match with the fields we are using inside the store. That is how it will get binded. Store is used to hold the data, it is separate. Grid is just a panel, UI element. Now to this grid we need two things. One is columns and one more is a data. Okay, how this data will get binded to the grid is the field names what you have used here: name, email and phone. And if you go to your grid definition, see here what you have used: data index, name, email and phone. Those two will get matched. and the data will get binded to your grid. So data index is nothing but the same name what you have used inside your store. The same name what you have used inside your store. That is nothing but the data index. Okay. Extensively we are making use of a grid component. Okay. So, okay, let me do one thing. ओके कोई प्रोजेक्ट लेके आपको नॉन एजैक्स भी समझा दूंगा. ओके सो नाउ let me take one example of viewing the stopwords. Yeah, where is that master skills movie rating? Yeah, let me import movie rating and run movie rating. We will see how we perform non-ajax by seeing an example. Okay, by seeing an example of one of the project known as movie rating project. Inside that we'll go and see something known as view stopwords. Okay, that is the simplest example which I can give. Right click, debug as, debug on server, finish. Hidden the other modules of movie rating. Okay. Kept all the modules over here. Oh my god, because of the projector this is getting overlapped. Okay. Control shift R menu.jsp इधर क्या रखा है? Control shift R admin menu dot अभी now I'll go to this page known as view stopwords page. This I have implemented using a Ajax technique. See what this page does. This page has some kind of text box? No, it has nothing, because this is the Ajax page. The entire code will be present where? Inside a JS file. See what is the JS file we are referring? View stopwords.js. Okay, therefore control shift R, I'll go to view stopwords.js. Okay, now let us understand the concept of a grid from this JS file. Okay, one by one, part by part, important things I'll make you to understand from this page. Okay, let me first make you understand what is a model. Okay, like in a Java we have a class. Class will have what? Attributes and the functions. Okay, in the same way on a front end, we are not making use of normal JavaScript, normal JSP for Ajax. We are making use of EXTJS framework, the latest trend of the industry. In the same way, like we have for a Java, there are classes which will have properties. Here in a front end, we have something known as model, which will have its own properties. Okay, how we define a model is ext.define model is equivalent to writing public class name. Okay, and then after that extend ext.data.model. This is a base class of EXTJS. Like you say, okay, class dogs extend animal in Java. Correct? Base class is animal, the child class is dog. Okay, Now, in the same way, the base class is ext.data.model, that is a class of the framework that you are extending, and you are providing your own fields, name, mapping, and the type. See, the name I have given some name stopword ID, mapping stopword ID, the type I have given it as int. Then I have given stopword, the mapping stopword, the type string. Therefore, I have defined this class with two variables, stopword ID and the stopword. The type of first variable is integer, the type of second variable is string. Okay, this is the first thing which you will see inside your JS pages, inside your applications, the models. Then after that, what is the difference between name and a mapping? Yes, good. Yes, correct, exactly correct. Name is nothing but the field name that you are giving for the variable. Mapping is nothing but whatever you give in the mapping, the response that is sent from the middle layer, the controller. The controller will send some Java object, right? Just now we learned front end, one Java object we created which has first and last. We read that by using request.get attribute and we painted. Like that, the Java will send some Java object, right? That Java object should have a variable stopword ID. And it should have a variable stopword. Mapping is used to bind between the back end, that is the controller, to the front end. Name is to use it in the front end. Clear with this model? Next after that, where will be the data on the front end if it is a JS file? Store. Okay, therefore now let us learn about a store if you want to call a backend data. If you want to call a backend data, the store will look something like this. Oh my god. Okay. ext.create, ext.data.store, it will have some ID, some name, that is not important for me. See, next thing what we are giving, model colon web model. Just now we studied about the model. We are saying your data must be in this format. Okay, then proxy, what is the type we are using? Ajax. And then I have told you, if it is a Ajax based request, you have to look for URL colon. The backend that is getting called function is view stopwords.do. Okay, and then after that, extra parameters, if you want to send along with this request some extra parameters, at that time you can say extra param name colon value. Means what? You had two input boxes. Okay, say inside a JS file you create two input boxes rather than JSP. Then you can give the name of the input box colon its value, name of the input box colon its value. If you want, you can send the extra parameters. Then action method read post means I am making this method to be secure. Okay, then reader, the type I am giving here is what? The JSON. Okay, here the proxy is a class which is used to make a request to the controller. The reader is a class which is used to read the response. Okay, therefore the type of reader I am giving it as JSON, and the root I am giving it as model because it is the key from where it has to read the response. You will understand this root model better when I open your UI and show the console, then you will understand it better. Hold on for a few minutes. For now, understand root is nothing but some key from where you have to read the data. Okay, now type, what I have used the type? JSON. There are two types that you can use for any kind of Ajax request, either a XML or a JSON. Okay, here we are making use of JSON because JSON is a lightweight object. Means amount of data that the server requires to send an XML, if it is 150 KB, the same data, if you are sending in the format of a JSON, it will go to the front end in 50 KB. So the memory consumption will be reduced if you make use of a JSON. Okay, then after that, next, listeners load. Listeners are nothing but some events. Here what I am saying is, when you call the server and when you get the response, after you get the response, load mask.hide, because as soon as I start the request, I am putting a loading icon. I am hiding that loading icon here. Okay, this does not have any significance, don't worry about that. Okay, now if you want to send the request to the server through an Ajax, we require a store. The store should have a proxy. Inside that proxy, you have to mention URL colon. That is how you can send the request. If you want to read the response that is sent from the server, inside your store you need to have a reader, and then you have to define the type of the reader at the root from where you want to read the data. Okay, now observe something. Okay, slash view stop words .jsp. There is stop word ID, stop word. So this is a grid panel. Okay, now I want you people to observe something. Okay, F12, I'll reload this page. Okay, before observing that, what is the URL I have given here? View stop words. It should match with view controller I have used for this project. Yeah, for many projects I am using the controller name as review controller. Okay. View stop words. See, request mapping also is the same. URL and the request mapping. This is how you get bind. Okay, that we have studied in non-Ajax also with three examples. Correct? Now if you see what is the response here, at response body there is no written model in view because this is Ajax based. And for all the projects I have used a generic class known as Ajax response. This is my own designed class with my own thinking that will help me for all the projects plus in the near future also. Okay, so it has something known as status will be true or false. If something wrong happened inside your algorithm, I'll make it false. If everything is correct, I'll make it true. Then all the errors I am holding in EB errors. Any result that you are passing, I am holding in a model because it is of type object. These four things you will not see anywhere it is being used. Okay, but when your application, I want to say for example tomorrow I want to combine your projects and make some big application and launch it on the web. I don't want to allow hacking to happen. Okay, in order to control CRSF attacks, we have SSCRT token name, token value. Okay, so this one no need to understand anything about this. Okay, this is for future use I have designed. Okay, next after that, here the things in all the project I have used is Ajax response class with some status. Errors will be holded in EB errors. The data will be holded inside this model. Okay, and then total size is number of records you are sending from the server. Okay, now go and observe the network tab. I'll refresh this page. Go and observe the network tab. The network tab will show you what and all requests are went to the server and what is the response you are getting. Your Chrome has a network tab. See what is going to the server? View stop words. See the response? Retrieval of stop words, total size, something and all is there. Correct? I'll copy this. This is not readable. Okay, JSON. I'll make it readable. JSON online parser. Okay, I'll copy whatever is coming from our server. It is hung because the data is huge. Stop words are huge, na? Now it came. See, message. The success message I am storing in a message for all projects. Then token value, token name, these and all null because it is for future use. See where I am keeping the data inside the model. Stop word ID, stop word. Okay, I am keeping the data inside a model. And one more thing all of you should observe. Inside the controller, how I am setting? See, set model. I have set some value. What is that? List of stop word Vivo. And if you go inside the stop word Vivo, it has what? Stop word ID and the stop word. That set model you can call on list of stop word, list of calculator value, list of dogs, list of animal, anything. Because model is of type object. Okay, so now any data coming from any project, I am binding it to a variable known as model. That's why the model will become the root and it will start reading from here. Now you understood the significance of root. Root is used to specify from the response from where to read. So it will start reading from the model. From the model, when it starts reading, what is there? Stop word ID and a stop word is there. Okay, and if you go to your store, mapping what is there for your store. Okay, inside the web model, if you go, web model, just now we saw what is the mapping, stop word ID and the stop word, both are matching, the data will get binded to the store. Till here you are with me. Next, how the data will get painted into this, into this grid component. Okay, if you see, the grid component has some columns and the data. This data we get from the store. Okay, what about the columns? The columns we have to define it. Okay, how I have defined the columns? See here, like this I have defined the columns. Column will have 3 important attributes. Width, if you don't specify also, default width will be taken 50 pixels. Here 50 means. Now see what is their header, is nothing but the heading of the column. Data index, stop word ID, this must match with under web model name whatever you have used. That is how the data get binded. Okay, then sortable true means it will be allowed to sort. Okay, therefore here observe the header, there is stop word ID and the header is stop word. On the front end, what is there? Stop word ID and the stop word. Therefore the grid will have 2 things, the columns that we define, and one more thing, it will be associated is a store. Okay, how we define a grid? This is how you can define a grid. In each and every place, this is very important, much important component, because in all of my projects I have used this component extensively to show the data. Okay, so inside this component, see, I have given some title for the grid, HTML parser output. That is what is the title coming on the front end for you. See, HTML parser output. And then after that, I have defined for this particular grid force fit true to fit the data according to the width whatever I have given. Okay, these and all are not important for me. The important is the store. Whatever store I had defined, web store, I am giving the link here. Then whatever columns I had defined, the header, data index, I have given the link here. These 2 are important. Remaining things are optional. If you want, you can use them. If you want, you can leave them. Okay, width is width of the grid, height is the height of the grid. Auto fit true is to link. Okay, the force fit true will fit the data. Auto fit will fit even the height of the grid to 300. Okay, if I don't use auto fit, it will get expanded, the grid will get expanded. Okay, now auto scroll true, because sometimes you'll have huge amount of data. That's why auto scroll true, what it will do is it will give you a scroll bar for this grid. Okay, and then after that, next what I have done, strip rows true. Strip rows true, alternate rows will have different colors. Observe the output. One row is gray color, one row is pure white. Okay, it is not visible because of this room, light is off. Okay, so one row is pure gray, one is white, pure gray, white, pure gray, white. Okay, so that will happen if you make use of property strip rows true. Render to, what I have used render to? Website container. In the previous example, I had used render to ext.getBody to render to the body. Here I have used some website container. What is that website container? It will be an HTML element with ID. Some HTML element with this ID must be present on your page. On that particular element, it will go and fit this particular table. Okay, I'll show you what is that ID. Collapsible true. When they say collapsible true, your grid will be collapsible. See here. Okay, getting it? This is how always I have used extensively in each and every place the grid component. Okay, then after that, next thing I want is you people should understand render to. Render to means which place this particular component and should go and sit. Okay, therefore what is the value I have given here? Okay, website container. You go to the stopwords JSP, see there is a div with an ID website container. Suppose if I remove this div, the data will itself not get painted. It will throw an error because no element is found now to go and place and sit on the DOM. Okay, this is called as a DOM, right? Document object model. Okay, in a front end is also called as document object model. It will go, document object model is nothing but HTML will become the parent, head will be the child, again body will be the child of HTML, again under the div will be one more child of body. Okay, so here I am saying go and sit in a div whose ID is website container, so it will go and sit inside the website container, your grid. Okay, so what we understood is for Ajax the request will be sent by using URL colon, and always the request will be sent through a store. Okay, and then after that the grid will have two important configuration, that is the store and the columns. Store is used to hold the data on the front end, columns are nothing but the headings of the grid. Okay, so this is how the Ajax and non-Ajax flows will work in Spring MVC. Okay, I have recorded the session, you can listen to this session n number of times, plus I have made a notes of Spring MVC.